Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare.
Well,
Hare Krishna to our audience this morning. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. How is what would the A.C. Swami Bhaktivedanta say? Bhaktivedanta say about
Bhagwan,
what's.
Bhagwan Rajneesh.
Well, I'm not a big Bhagwan Rajneesh guy. I
It was a
like the
hard. It
Hare
was a hard
Krishna
club to. It
Swami.
was a hard club to join.
Yeah, I've always been partial to the Hare Krishna Swami, the A.C. Bhakti, Bhak, now I'm gonna have to look it up. It's
Bok choy,
Ganta.
bok choy's lunch special.
Hare Krishna Swami.
The Republicans today have abandoned all sense of propriety and intelligence and the ability to do what's right for the American people. Brought that idiot in as the head of DNI, and Todd Blanche will be the criminal head of the Attorney General's office of the Department of Justice.
And that
There will be no
surprises you
Department of
how?
Justice. I thought that they were going to actually come to their senses and vote to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, no, this country is being run by a bunch of criminals, by a bunch of I mean, we are seeing a criminal enterprise here that um that the mafia
But
can only
envy.
sit back in awe and wonder of what they see. The
Maybe the senators can stop meeting in the Senate and just have the social club in Lower Manhattan. They can gather.
Well, it would certainly be more interesting. Certainly would be more true to. It would be truthful as opposed to what we're seeing, where they fly in and get driven to the airport and back and so on and
And they
so
put on their
forth.
suits and their clean white shirts and they look like they're politicians, but there's something else going on.
It's there's no they're not. Well, you know what? I was just gonna say they're not fooling anybody, but they are. They're fooling the American people because there's still people that stand up for these people. There are still you have friends, and I have friends, and we have people in our lives that we know still stand up for these people.
Hard to believe, but true.
And it's
What
sickening.
what kind what do they want to be true? What do they want to be real? What do they got in their minds when they think this way and support these people in this fashion?
I don't know, Michael. I don't. I made a decision many years ago to quit delving into why they think the way they do because I thought I had an answer and I still believe that my answer is right, but it's a sickening thing.
Is it revenge? Something happened to them in the sixth grade and they're still trying to get
Uh,
over it?
yeah, I think that is part of it. I think that you have a bunch of the shitheels that have gained a certain amount of power, and they have decided that they are going to take that power for a ride as long as it will take them, as far as it will take them. It will, you know, uh, the people that were disgusted by the Summer of Love, the people that listened to the Carpenters instead of the Guess Who, that didn't realize that there were things as togetherness and peace of love, and that there was this kind of middle ground where we didn't all have to get along, but at least we could figure out how not to screw each other.
Was it the peace that bothered them or was it the love that bothered them?
Well, I think it was the love because there weren't many of them that could get any. I mean, how many of these types of
Chances were
people
it was not looking
got
good.
laid?
There wasn't any love available for them.
How many of the people that you know that in the 70s and 80s and 90s were these types of people that that belonged to this club um, that had sex, that had that stopped and listened to somebody instead of just opening up their mouth and trying to override them with what they perceived they knew. It was few and far between, and it's going to remain that way. They have decided that they, because they have now have this power, um, that they are going to try to change the world to fit um, their Christian. I don't even
Christian
want to say it's
nationalist.
Christian because it's not. It's not the
They
Christian that I grew up with.
they bandy about the names and the references, but they don't mean it.
Yeah, it's not. It's no. As bad as the nuns were when I was growing up, as bad um as they punished people, as bad as they made things for people who didn't agree with them, as bad as they they had some compassion. They had some people that they liked. They had these people like nobody except people that can enrich them monetarily in some shape, manner, or form. And
Now Trump has got a pay scale for uh, getting access to the White House, getting access to the Oval Office. If you want something to say, if you want something to happen, if you want something the president has to do for you, you pay in advance for access, and then you're on a list to be able to make your case to him directly. You can buy access to the White House, and
well,
that's a Donald Trump invention.
don't know that that's anything new, though, isn't it? I mean, the Chinese um, always had an open bed in the Clinton White House, an
The
open.
Lincoln bedroom.
I'm sure Obama had people that had that contributed to Rahm Emanuel and those people, David Alexander, with some kind of regularity, and were able to gain access to the to Obama when he was president. Bush had it. I mean, I don't think this is that they aren't slicker at doing it. They're just more open. They don't care. They have decided that the American people, are so apathetic that the American people tr- granted, they have something that those other administrations didn't have. They have social media. They have the ability to look at a computer screen and see what the comments are, see how many people just don't care, or worse, are stupider.
They don't care that you pay 5.60 a gallon for gas. They don't care
No,
that the eggs are more expensive. They don't care that food is more expensive. They don't care that all aspects of your life in relation to products that you require to have an ongoing existence are all through the roof. They don't care, and Trump doesn't care. When did America not care about the price of anything? How did that translate to the world that we live in right now? Tomorrow, you're not going to care about the price of gas. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be through the roof, but you're not going to care. Tomorrow, you're not going to care about what your lunch costs. You can go to Dixon, you can order whatever you want, and it'll cost a fortune, and you won't care. You will have not a care in the world regarding the price of anything. And this is the gift that Donald Trump is bringing you. It allows you to travel pain free through your day. No pain, no price too crazy. Uh, If you want to pay $190,000 for a new Corvette, you won't care.
well, unfortunately, they've nailed it. unfortunately, they have nailed um, the apathy that
And
you could
Trump,
see coming. I mean, it's not like this started last week or something like that. I mean, this has been going on for a while.
well, we got 90 days to the only way we have to stop this in. The only way we can put the brakes on and change it is the midterms.
And we don't even know who the players are yet. I
That's
mean, we
not
have a good
true.
idea, but I listen. I fear for the republic. I just I don't have a great feeling about this midterm. I don't think that the Democrats so far have done much of anything to put out there.
But that's not even a stopgap solution. Your vote is going to count more now than ever. Don't blame the Democrats. Don't blame the Republicans. This is for you, America. Your vote, and you've got to come up with a better reason than, oh, I don't know if I can trust them. I don't know if they're the ones to change it. I don't know if they're going to fix it. I don't know if I can put all my hopes on a Republican or a Democrat from Ohio or Nevada. You've got to vote. You've got to turn them out. You've got to put the brakes on. You've got to give them the weapons that they need to turn this around. And that is votes in the House and votes in the Senate. There's no other solution. To pretend that there is something that Schumer can do in an overnight letter to the
No,
president
I don't trust
is
Schumer to do
madness.
anything. I don't trust Schumer. I don't trust Jeffries. Um, I just don't trust
Well,
many.
your alternative then is Todd Blanche because he's just got a job that's going to allow him to
To run the
operate
elections.
outside the bounds of legality, and he will try to seize the election. He will try to seize the votes. He will try to seize the ballots. He'll use the National Guard to do it if he wants to. No one can stop Todd Blanche because except the voters of America.
Well, hopefully, I mean, we pray that, but you got to do more than pray. You know, you got to do more than just
You got to do
hoping
more
that
than
God will
pray.
help you. Uh, you have to commit to yourself that you will do, uh, that you will find out what it is that can be done. There has to be some things that can be done, and you will find out what
First you
those
vote.
are.
First you vote.
You know, and you have to do things leading up to the vote. You have to go knock on doors. You have to stand. You have to give up your Saturdays, four wheel driving or whatever it is, and stand out there with leaflets or whatever it is that say, uh, "You, the voter, Americans, have to stand up and be heard." And if you're not willing to do that, then pretty much you're not going to have a country. You're not going to have the country that we deserve. You're not going to have the country where people are going to be compassionate toward other people, help each other. Where we are not seeing, going to see people shooting people in the street, but you're going to see people trying to help those that have gotten shot.
Right now, the state of Washington needs some help.
Well, yeah. I mean, and we'll get to that in a second. That the absolute horrific. I've been trying to get some of my friends in Eastern Washington um, on the phone this morning to try to get some of their stories, some of their ideas as to exactly what is happening in Eastern Washington with these horrific fires that are engulfing
Jumping
engulfing
rivers.
the city of Spokane, that are engulfing um, areas and towns from Lake Chelan east, um, all the way to the Idaho state border. And just in case you were saying to yourself, well, these fires are a thing that we're going to have to get used to because of climate change, because of this, because of that. Um, some guy decided that, well, you can't go a weekend without a good old shooting here in the Northwest. So,
I think I'll drive down to In-N-Out.
yeah, to go down to In-N-Out. They just opened a new one up down there. So let's run down there and shoot a few people. Shoot the windows out of some Teslas, and then shoot the lights out of some people that are in a lunchroom. Try to enjoy um, hamburgers with their families. And I, I don't know what possesses somebody to do that.
Is it 4 dead?
I didn't. There were three the last time I looked, but it may have grown. And of course, the guy who shot everybody, his name is Chad. So,
And that makes me feel better.
and that was in Twin Falls, Idaho, which is the southern part of the state. But
They've got 2 falls there, and they're so much alike that you can't tell them apart.
well, they got more than two, but the one that a lot of people here, I think, and many places are familiar with, the ones that are parked on I-90, which is Post Falls. And they are on I-90 as you enter into the state from the great state of Washington. And a small little town that welcomes you into uh, the state of Idaho. And you just you can't make this shit up. You can't make it up. So we have fires raging. The place is burning like it's hell. You have the
And
shootings.
you had the perfect storm of the high temperatures, the high winds, and the fire all going at once. It reminds me so much of Altadena and Pacific Palisades.
It
Those
looks
fires
like it.
were pushed. It
Yeah,
looks just like it. It's
it
identical.
looks like it. It looks like hell. It looks like what it must look like
And it
when
happened
you are
fast. It happened in a hurry.
confronted with your with hell. What Audie Murphy made that movie back in the 40s, I guess, in the late 40s, Hell and Back. Well, this is what it must look like. Um,
No round trip guarantee, by the way.
no, and you, I don't know how you.
You can't fight those kind of fires. You can.
And then on top of it all, just to make it, just to round out the weekend, at some point today, or did yesterday, your baseball team has changed considerably from what it was when you stopped paying attention to things on Saturday night or Friday night, or when you were taken away from all of the other stuff that was going on. Um, and the stuff that was consuming you politics wise, all of a sudden you realize that your baseball team is missing some people, or may have some new people that are choosing numbers right now of what number they want to wear on their back
Well, I
because
think they're going to be choosing those numbers in Sacramento because we just got prospects. Traded our second baseman who was hitting 338. Arias is his name. He's now a Philly, and we don't have a lot to show for it. The LA Times, which is not um, my source for sporting news, but they did grades. I think no, it was an LA Times. The ESPN did grades of the trades that had happened so far. They gave the Dodgers an A for acquiring the starting pitcher from Detroit. They gave the Detroit Tigers a D for coming up with 3 guys from the minor leagues that may never get to the majors. They may never prove out in any way whatsoever. And it made me wonder, why did Detroit, who's been thinking about trading this pitcher for months now, why did they make this deal? The Dodgers don't need a starting pitcher. The Dodgers were favored to win the World Series without this guy. Now they've got a top of the line starting pitcher to add to their rotation. And why did the Tigers do it and get so little in return? They can only trade the starting pitcher once. They did it and they got 3 minor leaguers. It just doesn't make good sense. And the judgment of ESPN to give the Tigers a D and the Dodgers an A shows you that the Dodgers came to the deal with all the money in the world
and didn't have to spend any of
and,
it.
and didn't have to sacrifice anything. Didn't have to sacrifice players. Didn't have to sacrifice the future of their prospects coming up in the minors. They didn't have to give them anything they didn't want. They gave them what they wanted. We want your pitcher, and here's what we want to give you for it. You think that's a good deal? Well, yes, Dodgers, we do. We can't tell you why. We can't defend it. We just got a D for conducting this trade. Why did they do it? I don't understand.
There's not a lot around this trade deadline so far, except I will say that the Luis Castillo deal for the Mariners
Yeah.
has probably made the most sense out of any of the trades that I've seen.
He
He
went to
had
the
no
Blue
future
Jays.
here. The Mariners were on the hook for $30 million that could be better spent somewhere else for this team. And so uh, they kicked in and kicked him around and kicked him out the door. A guy who, I don't know, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, left a pretty good impression. And over the years that he was here,
They got
was he
pitching.
4 years, was a pretty reliable pitcher. He had his ups and downs, but was a pretty reliable pitcher. I thought a good addition when they got him over from Cincinnati, and I think he served his time well here for the Mariners. So that's one deal, I guess, that I don't know. I'm not a big trade raider or but I think that it was a deal in the long term that made sense for the Mariners, and they got a bunch of players for him, and hopefully he'll be happy. Thank you for your service. Um,
And the Giants, of course, measure all their trades by their greatest trade of all time, Orlando Cepeda for Ray Sadecki. And until that one is explained or apologized for or rectified in some way, all the other subsequent trades over all the other seasons are put in a holding zone till we get Ray Sadecki for Orlando Cepeda explained to us what was going through their mind at that day, on that time.
who was the GM that made that trade? Was that
Tom
it
Haller,
wasn't Tom Haller, was it? No, that was
I'm,
before his time.
I'm guessing that it was.
No, I think he was still playing when they made that trade, if I'm not mistaken. Might have been. Anyway, um, well, the trade deadline is always an interesting thing to me. I love it. I love, in many ways, watching these players move from team to team, and hopefully some of them help people out. I think the numbers would bear me out, but I think that most of the players that change teams at this time of year, are there many of them that go on to help their um, teams out? Uh, the one that I always remember the most was the great first baseman Don Clendenin,
Yeah.
who was the straw that stirred the drink for the Mets back in 1969.
He made things
Uh,
happen.
Made good things happen, and he did that because he was pissed off. He did that, and he lived in an era where if you got mad at somebody for doing something you didn't like, you didn't shoot them. You picked up a bat and you went onto the field and you played your ass off and you made them sorry that they made a deal for you. You made them wish that they had never made that deal.
I'll make you
And
regret that deal. I'll make you
yeah,
regret that.
I'll make you regret that. And Clendenin did that. He made I remember he won the World Series MVP that year. Um, he just did it right.
Did you
He
happen to
showed how.
see that series that debuted last night on CNN called Sports Decades? And
Yeah, I didn't see it. I was actually
it put a spotlight on Namath and the Jets and the amazing Mets of '67. And it was I know you would have enjoyed seeing it. They didn't do the gloss over. They did a good job on it.
good, good. I'll go back. You don't have the on demand, so I'll go back and look at it. Um, yeah, there's so this trading deadline. I'm just looking at the wire here to see if I can come up with some more. Oh, by the way, just to throw something else into the salad, um, the people that went out to look to the log boom out at Seafair had a rough time of it this weekend too because we had high winds all weekend. Uh, well, we had them on Saturday mostly, and so people were getting tossed out of boats
Wow.
uh, everywhere people went. So there wasn't a lot of fun out on Lake Washington for that stuff. So
The
it
unlimited
really,
hydrofoils.
well, hydroplanes. Um, it was a weekend that for many people, it brings back the memory of Ray Milland sitting at a bar in a movie called The Lost Weekend. Where he was sitting,
He had the weekend and he set it down, and when he turned around, it was gone. It was lost.
he could never find it again. Never find it again. Always one of my
And he
dad's
and
favorite actors.
he looked in every bar he could possibly search
Oh
out.
yeah, and he made sure he was a very sharp man. Was Ray Milland because he not only could see what was going on, but he could taste what was going on. And either way, it didn't look good. It didn't smell good. It
Wasn't right.
didn't. It just wasn't good. And Milland knew that and said it's time to go. Um, yeah, I want to get over to the trade wire here. Um,
So it's tonight at midnight Eastern time.
no, it's no, I think it's 3 o'clock this afternoon, 1 o'clock, or 3 o'clock Eastern time. Um, noon, noon our time. Maybe it's 6 o'clock
So
back east
that's less than an
with.
hour. We have
But it's
less than an
this. Yeah,
hour.
it's this afternoon. Um,
It's 11:09 as we make our broadcast relevant to the time on the clock. And if it's 3 o'clock Eastern, it'll be noon here, and that will give you it'll give you 15 minutes right now if you're on the clock to make that last trade. Want to change your infield, your outfield, or your pitching, or your relieving core in the bullpen, hurry up because you got less than an hour.
right. There. Anyway, the all right. Let's take it apart. We criticized the government, so we fulfilled our obligation there. 1,000 firefighters battling at least three wildfires. 5,500. I mean, I'm looking at intersections and places in Spokane that I know quite well. I've driven down these roads. One of my best friends lives in Spokane. I go over there
And,
quite often,
and they're burned
um,
out territory.
and I have not heard from him. over the last day or so. I called him yesterday. Actually called him the day before as well. 4,000 firefighters have been working across the state to put out the fires. 425,000 acres are burning,
And
and
they're burning in a hurry. If you get that evacuation notice, you got to go.
yeah, yeah, and um, tried to figure out what, if anything, I could do. Is as simple as going to Costco, loading up a truck full of drinking water, of little bottles of water and taking them out there just to hand to people who may not have water.
Keep in mind that Donald Trump's caprice on this subject is serious. He refused to help the state of California with their costs and their damage and their tragedy. He just said, "I don't like Gavin Newsom. I don't like you Californians, and you don't like me. So fuck you. No government money for you." Washington's supposed to be in line for government help right now, but if Trump changes his mind, as he does often, Washington, you get nothing.
Well, the interesting thing is, much as in California, we live in a state with two distinct political delineations. You have the coast, which
The West
is
Side,
the the place where most of the population are, is a Democrat, liberal Democrat stronghold. Then you have the inland empire, Eastern Washington, as we call it here, and those people are vote conservative for the most part, not all, but most part, and they tend not to, to go a different way. Keep in mind that these were the people who, I forget how many years ago it was, had in Spokane, had a Democratic leader named Tom Foley, who was the House um, majority leader, and they voted him out. The Republicans mounted a campaign to get him out, replaced him with a guy named George Nethercutt, who was as much of as a wet piece of macaroni as you could find.
was he a troubled soul?
He was, well. He was just he wasn't a good he wasn't a good representative, and they voted for Nethercutt and elected him into office, not realizing that they didn't get to keep the office.
The office moves on.
Once Nethercutt showed up in Washington, although I think he was aware of this, um, Nethercutt did not become the majority leader. Somebody else got the job. But, the Spokane school system, I guess, just didn't explain that correctly to the people who voted for him.
You got some explaining to do.
So that's, so Trump has to tread lightly here, but he does have the advantage of knowing that he's dealing with a number of people who are more interested in raising speed than learning about their government.
The state of Washington has declared emergencies in 5 counties, including the county of Chelan, which is where I used to live. And we hope that all my friends in Wenatchee avoid the firestorm trend that's going on in that part of the world. The high winds, high temperatures, and widespread fire is a ghastly combination. It can't be stopped. When those all get going in the same direction, there's awful results, as we've seen. And right now, the state of Washington is under attack. Mother Nature's having her way, and she's not happy.
Yeah, it's just the pictures coming out of there are horrific.
And when it jumped the river, when the fire jumped the river over the weekend and burned the neighborhoods that we've seen in Spokane, that happened so fast. And I don't know that without the high winds, it could have jumped the river, but with the high winds, there was nothing to stop it. No river, no lake, no object on Earth could have prevented the embers from being blown across and the fire to continue at such a speed that there was no way to fight it.
Yeah, I mean, you're uniquely experienced at seeing this kind of stuff up close and at firsthand, and it is not. When they tell you to go, go.
The best weapon we have right now is the airborne retardant being dropped on the fire. You can cover the most ground in the quickest time, but it's not enough
But
sometimes.
yet there are those who will stand there and listen. It's hard to blame somebody for trying to save their house, their possessions, the things that matter to them so much. But good God, it's what can what do you say to somebody who's standing there with a garden hose, knowing full well it's not going to do jack shit, uh, versus what they're what they're facing. It's not going to
Mm.
do much of anything. In rare cases, maybe it does, but for the most part, you lose the battle. Maybe there's something comforting, psychological about standing in your yard with
Going down with the ship.
the garden hose. Yeah, with a garden hose trying to fight um, the ocean. But I just pray for those people out there, pray for my friends out there, and hopefully, like I say, if it's one of those things where you want to, you just want to go up to a bunch of people that you know and say, give me $20, give me $20, and go to Costco and buy all of the water you can and load it in the back of your pickup truck that I'm driving this week and come flying over the hill with your truck full of water and feel like you've done something. But I don't know if that does anything or not.
It
You
puts
know?
you in danger.
Yeah, probably for the most part it does. It gives the um, emergency authorities one more person to worry about.
Yeah.
So it makes you kind of scratch your head. Um, I think the odd thing about it is that it 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 just you just don't realize. I think sometimes, and again, you have this experience from last year. You just don't realize what how intense that is, what that dynamic is like until you've seen it in person, until you've experienced it, until you've been in some sense of danger from it.
Exposed to that kind of destruction.
It's, I mean, I've seen it up close. You have, as I say, just last year, and uh, hopefully, weather conditions will change. But I don't see anything that would tell me that it's going to be any different today or tomorrow or the next day than it was yesterday, the day before, or the day before that. Um, so it's disturbing. Nobody to blame. I don't think. And I mean, you may be able to point a finger at some of the emergency response, and maybe they're not quick or this or that. But you're dealing with people that are working, 20 hours a day to try to stop an unstoppable force.
And here in Southern California, we're going to have 91 degrees today. It's already 84. The weather for Washington is still part of the heat wave, yes or no?
Yes. It is. It is cooler here today on this in this part of the state than it has been over the past few days. Um, so, but there aren't fires on this side of the Cascades, or none major. You know, there might be a few here or there. There are the idiots that who will go out and start a fire.
Oh yes, you can always count on them.
You can always count on somebody to go out and create a disaster of their own making, so that they maybe will feel that they're getting their name on something. Um,
The guy
but
that started the Palisades fire here is still in jail. He's facing charges. He's been arraigned, and he's got a
nobody's killed
lawyer.
him yet, huh?
They would love to, I'm sure. The amount of damage he did is immeasurable.
Unbelievable.
And you saw what happened in Spokane, the same thing, how a whole neighborhood, a whole housing development just is gone in a matter of hours.
How do you just uh, what goes through a mind to say, I'm going to pull my car over, I'm going to grab some twigs,
Start a little fire.
I'm going to put them in a little pile, and I'm going to blow this neighborhood up. I'm going to ruin these people's lives by starting this fire, and it will give me um, a satisfaction that I couldn't
Can't
know
explain. Yeah, any other
from
way.
anything. Not sex, not drugs, not rock and roll, not symphony, not sympathy, not anything. I can't
You
get
know,
any kind of gratification
I'm doing it because it's good for me. I can't
except,
explain it.
yeah, except for,
Did they think this was arson to the beginning of these fires?
I don't know, Michael. I don't know if it is or not. So, um, I know that I saw one that was closer to Wenatchee that I believe was an arson fire. Because they are separate, obviously, fires. They're not all one
Yes,
fire, it's all separate,
several of them burning in the state.
all over the place. But you can go on. Um, I think I would encourage you, if you know people in this area. Um, and it's always I always think it's a good idea just to see, to witness what has gone on here, and the suffering that these people have to go through. And to, I don't know, to maybe think the next time you see some, or you have this idea to harm somebody, that maybe it's not a fire, maybe it's just a bad word, or an act or something uh, that would make you stop a second and say, do I really need to do that? Do I really need to inflict that kind of pain on people? It's it's just horrible. And again, I just don't know what you could do.
And it's still unclear to me that there are not further structures in the Spokane neighborhood that burned that are going to be threatened by this fire. It's not over.
It's yeah. Hopefully there'll be an answer of something that can be done. Whether it's donating a little bit of money. I don't have a lot of money, Michael, but if $5 will help, or $10 will help them, and I think we'll
Help the
find
Red
out
Cross respond.
in these kinds of things that $5 or $10 does help people. It buys a bandage, or it buys a bottle of aspirin. Just something that you can feel like
Gas for
did
the
some.
ambulance.
Yeah, I had a friend that said to me once, well, you're contributing $10. What difference does it make? And I just said that, hey, it
By
makes.
itself, it makes $10 difference. With all the others, it makes hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yes, yes. So if you have the um opportunity to contribute in some way, whether it not be of your body but of your resources, please do that. Please try to make a difference. I mean, it's really where you can make a difference. All right, let's take a look at the deals that are going. Tariq Skubal, as you know, we mentioned earlier in the show, went from Detroit to the Dodgers. The rich get richer. Welcome to America. It really is America's game when you think about it, isn't it?
It is now, yeah.
You know,
Especially with the reserve clause and the collusion of the owners over the years.
yeah, it's just a Chris Bubik. You know Chris Bubik?
Yeah.
It's Chris with a K. Chris. He was traded 36 seconds ago. Guess where he went? From the Kansas City Royals.
New York Yankees,
Nah, better than that, Michael. Come on.
Boston Red Sox,
No, what would annoy you the most?
the Dodgers.
Yes. Um, Robbie Ray goes to, it looks like the Padres.
I'm going to miss him.
Miguel Mendez and Joniel Hernandez, or Joniel Hernandez, will be the haul that the Giants get for the former Cy Young Award winner.
And who do the Giants get?
Miguel Mendez and
He's a what?
Joniel Hernandez. So you got a Mendez and a Hernandez.
Two pitchers.
I think so. You know um the good thing is that the
Are
New
they
York
doing
Giants has
anything?
decided to stop putting the positions of the players that they traded.
Because who needs to know that?
Who wants to know? Let's see. 6 minutes ago, they traded an old friend of yours, Kevin Gausman, did the Blue Jays.
Yeah, he was a starter for the Giants. Had a good career with the Blue Jays. Now he's where?
Now he is headed off to the Texas Rangers.
Huh.
He seems to be the prototypical guy. He does. Um, yeah, Smith and Josh Smith. Uh, the Toronto Blue Jays seem to need some kind of versatile infield help, and it always seemed, we always gloss over these guys, but it is that versatile utility player at this time of year who becomes as valuable to you as the superstar.
You can play from third to first, maybe the
Right.
outfield.
Can stick him anywhere, 6 places in one game if you have to.
He's going to be fine out there.
So he's going to be okay. He's not having a good year, hitting 213, but the Blue Jays think that they're going to get him to bounce back. That's the other thing you can always count on, is that there's a general manager somewhere who thinks the guy who is having the suckingest year
Just about ready to turn around.
that he has the secret sauce. He has a jar of the queso in his desk drawer that
Yeah,
he can pour on a hero sandwich and get this guy to play ball for him.
at last.
And every once in a while, they're right. The interesting thing in this trade too um, is the Blue Jays gave up something that they try not to give up many times. They gave up a guy named Adam Macko, who is a Canadian, a lefty reliever. So,
That's rare.
yeah. And then here is the newest headline here, written by Tim Britton in the New York Times 8 minutes ago. Where do the Mets stand?
Are they going to get involved, or are they? Are
Well, they've
they?
been involved. They've been pretty involved. They got rid of Freddie Peralta, who was the guy that they just brought over from the Brewers at the beginning of the year. A.J. Minter and Brooks Raley. Um, Still on the board for the Mets are Clay Holmes, the pitcher, a guy they acquired from the White Sox, Luis Robert Jr., and Tyrone Taylor. Um, Robert and Taylor, fan favorites. Although, how much favorite could you be of a? It's like saying that Chris Cannizzaro was a fan favorite.
Joe Pignatano.
Well, people didn't want, never wanted to see him go. Um, Trying to see, right-handed bats. Not many in the market, but uh, they don't seem to be putting out a lot of effort to trade these guys. Josh Smith, we said the Blue Jays got him. The Mariners. I saw that the Mariners were in on another trade with the Baltimore Orioles. Was it Taylor Ward, who is I believe an outfielder? Marlins and the Rays are going to make one of those famous cross Florida trades. You get to pick up an afternoon at the government mansion with
Get you an alligator sandwich for lunch.
their fine governor. You get to sit down and be asked if you are a true Republican. Padres close to acquiring Robbie Ray. Luis Arias goes to Philly.
Yeah, second baseman. But a guy, how many guys do you know hit 338 that got traded?
Yeah, Caleb Killian, Ramon Marquez, and Marty Gare from the Giants. They had to do something, did the Phillies, and they did. Jacob deGrom, you remember him, former Met.
Yes, indeed.
The Rangers were trying to trade him, but he said, I don't want to leave. And he invoked his trade clause. Yes, Taylor Ward is a guy that many people are high on, or many people are high, in among those that follow baseball. He's got a bat, and he says that he's bringing them.
It's a very Spokakian thing to do. Have something and bring it with you.
Yes, he's got some bats. They said
Says instead of showing up and saying,
has a bat.
I have 3 bats, but I left them home. Can I borrow
So,
Tino Martinez's bat instead?
I don't know. We'll see what happens. The Mariners get with Taylor Ward, which I'm not sure what the advantage is in this whole thing, but the Orioles got 3 players for Taylor Ward, so he must be something. Alex Hoppy, Brock Moore, and Harrison Kryling, and if you were standing next to them on a train, you couldn't identify him.
They're going to be looking for apartments in AAA.
Well, the good thing about the AAA situation here is that you can look for apartments like in Federal Way. And you're okay because, the AAA club is in Tacoma and the Major League club is
The
in
Buren Bruins.
Seattle. And if you really think you're going to suck and you really get demoted, the single A club is just up in Everett. So everything is nice and compact for you.
What happened
One
to the
apartment will
Embers?
take care of everything.
What happened to the Eugene Embers? Are they still around?
Who's that?
Eugene Embers. Eugene, Oregon Embers.
Oh,
They call them the
I didn't
M's.
see them when I was driving through, but it's not to say that they're not. You know, they've screwed up, and we've never really talked about this all that much. But the Major League Baseball has so screwed up the minor league system that
Does it
it's hard to
function?
understand who's going where, why, and how anymore. Because the owners of these teams, the major league teams, don't want to contribute money anymore to the minor league teams. They want them to,
Volunteer their services.
yeah, they think, oh, well, we're giving, we put a league together here, and now you can stand there with your players. You pay them out of what you make. And anyway, we'll have to jump into it. Nice thing in the Reds, you know, ever since that wacky March shot, they've always seemed to come up with some kind of funny thing. They say, do the fine folks at Grader's Ice Cream, which I don't know if you've ever had Grader's Ice Cream,
I don't think
but
so.
but it's a fine ice cream.
Cincinnati brand.
It's a Cincinnati brand, and you can do a lot worse than having a Skyline Chili Mac for dinner and a Grader's Peach Ice Cream cone with sprinkles for dessert.
But if I want a root beer float, what Grader's ice cream would you recommend?
Well, for root beer float, I'm always going to go with a vanilla.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, I'm always going to go with a fine vanilla or vanilla bean
Hmm.
with a root beer float. There's just and I'm going to try to find myself a nice dollop of whipped cream to put on the top of that thing.
Damn right. Never
Just
hold
a
the whipped cream.
just fresh whipped cream. And when you see the guy actually mix it up, make it right there behind the soda fountain.
Yeah.
Grader's opened up an ice cream store when I lived in Pittsburgh between Mount Lebanon and I forget what the one of the next towns down. And the place was always packed. I mean, they opened up at 11 o'clock in the morning, and 11:05 there were people standing in line to get ice cream. You tell me what the hell they were doing at 11 o'clock in the morning, standing in line for ice cream.
They had a Jones. They had a itch that they had to scratch.
They had
They,
something
they,
on
they
them.
need some ice cream with a dollop.
But the peach ice cream at Graders but Graders anyway said that they would throw in um, some ice cream to make
Some ice cream.
some ice cream if they held on to Brady Singer, which is somebody that many people in Cincinnati are high on. Please also don't forget that many people in Cincinnati are just high.
Well,
Uh,
I was high on Robbie Ray. I don't know why we had to get rid of him. This is a team that can't play 500 ball. You think you need a good starting pitcher?
well, you
Apparently
see, this
not.
is this is what happens, Michael, and this is why I you know what I know the trading deadline. Many people like it. I said just a few minutes ago that I liked it. But the downside of that like and enjoyment and that boost that comes in the interest in baseball in the dog days of summer is that you wind up invariably trading people that can help your team next year.
Who
That
are
can, if
gone?
you keep them, they will help. If you trade a starting pitcher like Robbie Ray, do you have to go out and find another Robbie Ray in the
There ain't one.
offseason?
You
How you
know,
going to
there's
do
not
that?
one out there. There's just not one waiting out there to be plucked off the
So,
trade friendly lists.
Jordan Alvarez, um, a much touted player for the Astros, um, could be on the move. I don't think so, though. Brenton, is on the way. And that other team that plays in Southern California, one of the other teams that play in Southern California,
The
the one
Angels,
that nobody hears about, um,
that would be the Angels.
have sent Joe Adell to the Guardians for Jacob Cozart, who's a catcher. You know, it's interesting that catchers, there's not a lot of catchers around that are available. If you've got a
And the
catcher, you're hanging on to him.
Dodgers needed one.
If you got a catcher, you are,
Give him a deal, sign him up.
yeah. Um, this is interesting. I always like to see this because I have, as you know, developed quite an affection for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yes, indeed.
But the Pirates seem, they haven't made any big deals, but they have acquired Jacob Gonzalez and Camilo Doval. Gonzalez, an infielder, Doval, a reliever.
Was the closer for the Giants, went to the Yankees. The Yankees decided that his services would be better off in Pittsburgh.
Well, I'd sure like to see. Uh, I sure would like to see the Pirates do something and make a run for it in a division that I don't know. I think is probably maybe the division isn't winnable, but it's pretty good to assume that a wild card could come out of there, maybe two. So wouldn't mind seeing that. And the Angels, um,
What do the Angels do?
they traded Jose Soriano, right-handed pitcher, in exchange for Arjun Nimala, Eddie Michetti, or Micheletti Jr., and Angel Rivera.
A couple of minor league prospects.
And it seems that the Angels have been, believe it or not, a bit more active than they've been in years gone by. A lot of people expected that
Move
they
Mike
were going to
Trout.
move. Why am I blanking on his name?
Mike Trout.
Mike Trout. Thank you. You know, I knew it was a fish, and I couldn't remember if it was salmon, snow, trout.
Or
um,
Pike.
a lot of people thought that he was earmarked for the Mets, but they did not, or have it as of yet, made that deal. So, just to quickly run down who's been traded this morning. Jose Soriano goes for Luis Arias. Arias goes from the Phillies. Goes to the from the Giants to the Phillies. Brooks Raley goes to the Phillies from the Mets. Brent Suter goes from Braves to Angels, or maybe that's the other way around. Ben Rotvet. You ever hear of him?
Afraid not.
Be the only time you probably do. Goes from the Dodgers to the Mets, or the Mets to the Dodgers. Taylor Ward is picked up by the Mariners, and Joe Adell. I always am suspicious of a guy named Joe who doesn't have an E at the end of his name.
Yeah, that was not. Give that some more thought, Joe. Add the E.
Yeah, if you're going to Cleveland, you may want to add an E onto that thing. And one other guy that has been on the reportedly on the trade block, and it'll really piss me off if they do this. But Ken Rosenthal is reporting. You remember Ken Rosenthal? He has a bow tie
Yes.
and he stands there on the interviewing people during the game, which you should never be allowed to do. Um, the Seattle Mariners have let it be known that George Kirby.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that George Kirby is available. I am not a fan of getting rid of George Kirby. Think the guy's been a rock when he's been here. He's a good pitcher, no matter what his numbers may be. But that might be a trade that'll get people pissed off. And by the way, just to close out, as of 36 seconds ago, Dan Wilson is still a manager of the Seattle Mariners.
Well, that could change in the next 10 minutes because that's all we have left to the trading deadline. 11:47 noon is the deadline, so we just have minutes to go before the last trades are announced.
So and you don't you get a flurry of trades, but you also get a lot of people who got to pass physicals. So actually, the trades. Um, Now it's 3 o'clock. Actually, it's 3 o'clock. The trade deadline is 6 o'clock Eastern time today. Six
I
o'clock.
see.
So 3 o'clock is the trade deadline. So you got some time to go. But again, there'll be trades that'll be made that you won't know about for a little bit because the um, the physicals have to be passed. The paperwork has, all these contracts have to be looked at by a league official and approved. And we're all familiar with trades that have not been approved by the commissioner's office.
I never approved Ray Sadecki for Orlando Zapata.
I didn't either. And I certainly did not approve Nolan Ryan. Uh,
Or Tom Seaver.
well, no, not Tom Seaver, but certainly not Nolan Ryan either, who was sent to the Angels for Jim fucking Fregosi.
That's not right.
Now, Fregosi might have been a nice guy. I mean, I met him a few times. Might have been a wonderful humanitarian. Might have been kind to animals, kind to children, and a fine tipper in nice restaurants.
But
But Jim Fregosi for Nolan Ryan, what the fuck were you thinking of? Anyway, so that's what we have. That's the world of baseball today. Stay tuned to your local. I go with the Athletic on trades. They seem to have a pretty good set of reporters that look at these things and feather them out and see how it goes.
well,
See
then,
how it
Vinny, shall
works
we
out.
meet here on Wednesday with a brand new team to field for the rest of the season?
Yes, why don't we? I'm going to actually jump in my car when this is done and head down to where am I going? to somewhere down south and meet up with a few old radio guys who are having a an old radio guys meeting. I've, 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 I've purposely stayed away from these, but I figured that it might be a good idea to go to one just to help see what the hell is going
This is
on.
Seattle Market Reunion.
Yeah. John Maynard is running this. I think he does these every couple of months, and being around embellished stories, I think is always good for America. Maybe not, but we'll find out. I'll tell you on Wednesday.
What town are you headed to?
Des Moines,
Uh-huh.
which
You can
um,
discuss. You can discuss the trend along Odyssey stations, the old CBS stations, here in Southern California, in the Inland Empire. KCAL, which has been a rock station for 40 years, fired the entire staff, and they're going syndicated. They're going to put tapes up, play an all music format that they get off the Star, and be done with it. Forget about it. It's over. It's done.
oh, that was. I'll still say that was a Clinton deal.
Too many
He screwed the
owners.
pooch on that one,
Too many owners.
and has never uttered, with all of the bullshit that's come out of his mouth, um, in the ensuing years, he's never uttered a word of apology for putting so many people out of work, making so many people's property worth nothing.
We don't know, but it could have been great for the industry. There was a real chance that would have been a saving grace for radio. Have one idiot own them instead of an idiot in every town. Have one idiot own everything in all these towns.
Well,
That
what he
that gives the
did,
other idiots a chance to find something else to do with their time.
what he did, Michael, too. I mean, I think is he just opened up the door for hot talk radio. He
Hate hate talk.
maybe that hate talk, that disgusting kind of radio where somebody just sits there and bloviates about how he doesn't like disabled people is, and you really could draw a line in my mind to the the onset of
Hate talk right wing radio.
the onset of just this syndicated Rush Limbaugh type personality who has
And
no
those
personality.
those radio hosts hated Clinton. They hated Obama. They hate Biden. They hate the
Anything that's
memory.
not yeah anything that wasn't Ronald Reagan they hated. And so when Clinton gets up there and starts to meander on about his whole bullshit, it is a lot of bullshit because without him s- sucking out the bone marrow of money from the radio owners, he wouldn't. This I'm not going to say it wouldn't happen, but it would have taken a lot longer. And maybe people, smart-minded people, would have found a way to not let it happen.
You might know the answer to this. Are there any talk stations, sports, news talk, that are successful right now, that are making money, that are putting money in the bank? WMAL, sports radio in New York, WFAN. Are any of those stations still in the pink?
Well, I think Fan is. I mean, I think Fan is still at the highest billing
Billing.
station in New York, in the country. Um, it's interesting. I'm really interested to see what the whole WABC thing is going to turn out to be, if that's going to be successful or not. They are, they've gone all news, and it seems to do it in New York, you better have a lot of money. But the guy who is running the show there seems to have a lot of money. And so he is an ultra conservative, hot, hate talk guy. But he's trying to do, I think, what was done in television with an alternative to Fox with radio stations. Come up with a radio station as an alternative to or an accompaniment to Fox TV.
We're like them, but we're meaner and more mean spirited.
Right. We're not afraid to we're not afraid to call it as we see it, which would mean that there'd be a lot of hate going on. All right, man. Oh, you know what I think is you asked me that question about the radio stations. WLW in Cincinnati. I think they're
Doing
still
well.
doing well, if I'm not mistaken. And Cairo is here. I don't know what Cairo is doing. I don't think they're they're certainly not the number one station they were for many, many, many years in the market. Um, but I think that they're okay, But they have a gazillion dollars behind them in the Mormon Church, so they just make a phone call and they send to Salt Lake City for a truckload of money,
Transfer some cash, please.
and it shows up. But you know what? If the Mormon Church wants to spend their money,
Taking it out of one pocket and putting it in the other.
Yeah, salaries in radio. Who am I to argue? They paid mine for a few years, so I'm okay with it. It's sad because that money would be, I think, much better spent just teaching people how to be nice to other people.
The trend that I'm seeing across the country is major owners just shutting off AM stations. Big news talk operations.
Didn't that happen? I don't know, was it 10 years ago or something like that? Wasn't there something similar? Because a lot of people thought that the AM band was going to go away. And all of a sudden, AM stations just started, they were selling them cheap. Now, if there are some liberal people who are saying to themselves, it would be a bad idea to buy a few of these stations and turn them into some entertainment, maybe that wouldn't be a bad idea, if somebody had some money. If somebody wanted to give you and I a AM station somewhere, I got enough records. You got enough records.
I would go freeform.
We could hybrid a listenable, more than listenable, and entertaining
freeform
station. Personality. We could find a few people to work with us to do that. I'm sure John Maynard probably be ready to jump out of retirement. All right, Mikey.
It would be a good choice in the Seattle market.
Yeah. Again, Seattle. No, I don't know if anybody listens to radio anymore. I mean, I think it's all done with.
Well, you're not missing anything. That's the problem. There's no product.
Exactly.
There's no product that you think you're going to miss that you have to listen to.
Although my daughter faithfully listens to NPR every morning.
The news?
Faithfully. She says, I grew up with radio, and I'll keep listening to radio. I'm a radio family. I grew up in a radio family. My mother loves radio.
What drove me nuts about NPR was the way that the hosts and the news people throw away so much. They're so devoted to this delivery When it's time to say the end of the sentence, they just go, "This is NPR."
Yeah, yeah. It's
No,
yeah,
it's not. This is NPR. Say it. Sell
yeah.
it.
Say it like you mean it.
Drives
I
me nuts.
yeah. I agree with you. I remember going down to KUOW and them telling me that I was too. I had a too much of an active personality.
You appear to be alive. We're not going for that.
Right. To be on their station, I had a
Can
pulse.
you feign death? You'd be
Yeah.
better off on the air.
I had a pulse, and they certainly didn't want somebody with a pulse
No, we're
on
not
their
having it.
radio station.
Not
Might
having
ruin
it.
it. I said I can turn down the pulse.
Their needles never hit the red in NPR
Never.
radio.
They haven't bent a needle ever.
Nope.
We've all worked in a radio station that has that little curve to the needle.
It should. That needle should have show some wear.
All right, I'll see you on Wednesday, Mike. If the
Wednesday it
water's
is,
over, the
Vinny.
creek don't rise, pal.
Well,
Take
I
care of
think
yourself. Thank you all for listening. So again, we were a little late this morning, but remember the advertisement says around 10:10.
and that's as close as we're gonna get. See you, Ben.
All right, see you, Mikey. Thank you all for listening. Oh, don't forget, vote tomorrow. It's election day here in Washington and Michigan. Tomorrow's good practice for November. Get up off your ass, go out, read tonight your voter pamphlet, and learn about the different candidates and vote for them.
That's your job
Stop
as a
the
citizen.
apathy and
Take a
go
listen to
out
the
there
news
and make
today.
a
You'll see why
difference.
it's important. The news today
Yeah.
is bad. See you, Ben.
All right, Mikey, take care.
Wednesday it is.
Wednesday at 10:10. Bye-bye now. Peace, love, Manischewitz.